Good morning. Welcome to this episode of the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. Happy Wednesday, everyone. This is your host, Melissa P. Dunn. I am the CEO of MD Marketing Network and the founder of this Dunn Wisdom movement, where I absolutely take joy and pleasure in introducing you to women who are getting it done in life, women who are using their skills and their talents to not only make their life better, and to make life better for their families, but also for the entire community. And today I'm going to be introducing you to two seasoned change makers, two women who are activists and influencers in their own right, who are indeed getting it done. And we are honoring grandmothers today on the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. This past week, in fact, on Sunday, we celebrated around the world National Grandmother's Day, and I celebrated it on Monday as well. And so in honor of grandmothers everywhere, I'm going to introduce you to two powerhouse women. And I do this in memory and in honor of my own grandmother, Princess Dunn, who, as many of you know, raised me. And so today's guests, two powerful women, and we are going to start with Miss Carolyn Hudson. Carolyn is the founder and brainchild behind Grandparents Bridge for Racial Healing. She started the organization in 2020 at the height of some of the most turbulent times in America. If you remember, we were going through a whole lot of racial divide and challenges in that country at the time. And so she founded the organization in honor of the late, great John Lewis. Hi, Miss Carolyn. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. And I welcome this opportunity to join you and your audience.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Miss Carolyn. So tell us a little bit about the organization.
Well, as you just mentioned so graciously, the organization was founded in 2020, shortly after the death of John R. Lewis. There's a group of us who had conversations. During that time, all of us were on Zoom and talking. But we decided we wanted to do more than talk. We wanted to walk the walk and stand up and own up to who we are as a generation that was part of the John Lewis. Most of us are probably over 60. And we decided to have a force built so we could be part of change. And part of that change is we gathered, and I started off with my friendship base. I had a sister in Michigan. I had coworkers and friends here in Florida, and relationships, all grandparents, including New York. And we developed a concept. We came up with the name, and we've been empowered and meeting ever since, staying focused, and had a couple of major projects within that time to reach out and try to awaken our grandchildren and beyond.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. I'm going to bring you back so we can kind of have a really spirited conversation about the power of grandparents.
Yes.
And next, I want to introduce to you our next guest. She is Miss Joy Crawford. Now, those of you who are a fan of the show know that Miss Crawford is always visiting the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show and participating in what we do. Hey, Miss Joy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Melissa.
So everyone, Miss Joy is a powerhouse in her own right. She has an organization called What My Grandkids Call Me. It's been around for 10 years. And this woman is an influencer with over 31,000 members and followers across the world. Hey, Miss Joy, tell me a little bit about your organization.
I would be happy to. My organization is What My Grandkids Call Me, and I celebrate with all grandmas the joy of having a new name that your grandkids call you once you become a grandma. There's over 3,000 names that I've found other than grandma, but I'm sure there's some that I haven't found yet.
Wow. Well, it's so amazing. And I understand that you have some of the names posted on the board behind you.
I do. And if you can see it a little bit, it says what my grandkids call me. And then some of them are Grandmama, Sweetness, Cokie, Bella, Grandma. So this one has 3 R's to make sure you Granny Jew, Yaya, Gigi. One lady lives by the beach. Her grandkids call her Beach. Momo.
Oh, I love it.
And Lolly's husband is Pop. So together they're Lollipop.
Oh, I love it. So my Lauren, my niece, calls my mother Gigi.
Oh,
So
okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we do. I just saw here's Gigi right there.
Yeah. So what inspired you to start this?
I moved here from Atlanta just a little over 10 years ago, and I was just thinking of something that I could do as a retired teacher, kindergarten, and my son was, they were always on Facebook. So when I came from church one day, I saw this great big guy, and he came to pick up his grandchild because I happened to be working the nursery that day.
Mm-hmm.
And the grandchild said, Juby. And I kind of looked up, and the grandpa, this big guy that looked so stern, all of a sudden smiled like the sun was coming up. And he reached down to pick up this little boy, and he said, come to Juby. And I was like, really? Is that your grandpa name? And he was like, yes. And when I came home that day, I said to my son, can you set me up a Facebook page called What My Grandkids Call Me? And I'll just start collecting names.
Oh, I love it.
That's the way I got started.
And that's how it got started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, stand by, Miss Joy. I want to have more conversations about that. And my audience, I want to invite you to join the conversation. If you have a question for these powerhouse, please type them in the chat. And, if you want to share your own name, what your grandkids call you, please type them in the chat as well. Today, we celebrate grandparents. So, ladies, let the conversation begin. So, Miss Carolyn, you're retired as well, I'm taking it?
Yes, I'm a retired legal assistant via New York and Michigan, then down here in downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Uh-huh.
And so with that, after retiring, whatever that means,
because it's different, right? It's different.
I redefined myself.
Yes, ma'am.
That is quite a beautiful journey to take when you look at it and you say, now, how can I make a difference? That was my question. You never stop. I'm a proud mother, 2 beautiful daughters and 4 beautiful grandchildren, and they live in New York and Michigan. I have my grandparents are I never knew my grandparents, but my grandchildren call me Goon Goon.
Oh my!
Miss Carolyn, you are not going to believe this. So my great grandmother lived in the house with us. So I grew up having my grandmother and my great grandmother with me. My great grandmother passed away when I was 8, and we call her Gangang.
Oh my! And that's probably the way they say. We're not saying that. So sometimes I just say it sounds like they're saying Gangang, but it's because my oldest granddaughter really couldn't say grandmother when she was very young. So she derived her own name, and I accepted it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's the way you do it.
You accept it. You embrace it because it's so lovely.
You love it. I know.
Melissa, that is beautiful.
Yes. Oh my gosh. See, we're already connected. There's already a spirit of joy in the room right now. Hey, Miss Joy. Karen Gray is saying, hi, Miss Joy. Great morning.
Hi, Karen. Karen's a new grandma. She's got twins.
Yeah,
beautiful.
She does. I love watching the pictures of her kids. So, ladies, you all decided after you retired to really redefine what being a grandmother meant for you. Mm-hmm. How has your journey been so far?
Well, I can start off by saying, Melissa, it's not what I thought it was going to be, but one of the things that I was very on point with deciding, and intentional is probably more of the word, is to give back outside my own family. I feel like that I've given so much, and I felt like my difference would be made by giving back to others. So right now I'm with the City of Sunrise Educational Board. I'm a mentor at Women of Tomorrow, and I embrace the beautiful young ladies 9th through 12th. My critical message is you are enough. You're more than
Yes.
enough. You matter. And that gets into the Grandparents Bridge for Racial Healing. Our children need to know you're not just a little spirit walking around. You matter. And we're going to embrace you and embrace your self-esteem. So we work on their self-esteem. I'm also a newly published author.
Congratulations.
It's a children's book.
You too, Miss Joy. You're a newly
Yes.
published. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
listen here. Did I not tell you guys that we have some powerhouse women who are getting it done? I'm
Yeah.
retired. There's no such thing as retirement. Clearly,
No, that's
No.
a fact. No, and I think our seniors need to know, because that's the word we hear. Don't adapt to it. Grow even more. Continue to grow.
I love it. I love it. What about you, Miss Joy?
I forgot the question. That's
Well,
mine.
no, that's all right. That's all right. Well, I was just wondering, how has it been for you so far in your retirement and having the group? How has it been, your journey into grandparenthood and service?
Yes, it's been wonderful. Like I said, I've collected over 3,000 names. The book just came out like maybe 3 months ago, called What My Grandkids Call Me, A to Z, because I was A to Z, because I was a kindergarten teacher. And then at the end of the book, I had several grandmas from the group write in how their grandkids made them feel. So their quotes are also in the back of the book.
Oh,
and I was able to, just before COVID, I had this idea of taking beautiful pictures and making a book for my grandkids. So as I was thinking that, I said, why don't I do this for other grandmas? So this was to be magazine-like, but it would it's to enhance the joy of that feeling when you become a grandparent and hear from that little mouth your grandma name or your grandpa name. There is no worldly ever. It's inexplicable, but there's no word for that feeling that you feel when you hear your grandbaby say boo boo, Gigi, Gaga. So I developed the magazine and had invited hundreds of grandmas, but then COVID came. But we were able to do a few. So the grandmas came to an elegant hotel called Pelican Grand Beach Resort.
One of my favorite hotels. I just want you to know that I was very happy to share my hotel with you, Miss Joy.
I've been going there for 10 years. I found that place when I first got here.
So in that case, you're sharing it with me, because I just discovered it like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. So the grandmas come dressed in white with any accessories that they like. And a photographer, Graciela Valdez, one of the prime photographers in South Florida, photographs them different places in the hotel. And then after that, there's a fun, relaxing room with the activities just for grandmas. It's a just for grandma activity. And then after the photo shoot and the activity and lots of gifts, they get to go home. But what the result is, a magazine called What My Grandkids Call Me. And inside the magazine are the pictures of them, and underneath is their grandma name. So I have one here, and I'd like to just show you. And the pictures look beautiful. And this is Lolly. Okay, so you see the picture?
Cute. Yeah, that's super cute.
It's just a few hours of joy with other grandparents and enjoying that feeling again and sharing that feeling, because there is no other feeling and nobody can have it except a grandma.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Share it, and we're doing it again in April. So lots of people will see invitations to come starting in January.
I love it. I love it. Karen is also saying, yes, my bundle of blessings. She's referring back to the statement that you made that she's a brand new grandma. And then Monique is saying she calls her grandmother Nanny.
Oh, that's a good one. We got lots of nanas, but no nanny. So that's another one.
I love it.
To the wall, nanny. And
I love it.
I have to add yours too.
And then Monique Grant Ford, my son called her mama, Nani also. Okay. And I believe if the girl is going to call her Nanny. And I said, let's see what they will come up with. Well, Nanny in Jamaica is like one of our national heroes. So that's actually, I think, a pretty historic reference as well. So Carolyn, you are a activist now, right? You've become a community activist with an organization named Grandparents Bridge for Racial Healing. That's a really mission-driven type name. What are some of the projects that you guys have done?
Well, our major project shortly after we organized was to create wristbands. And the wristbands were for children of any age, but we really focus on maybe kindergartens through up 11 or 12. And these are wristbands that reaffirm that they put on to remind them throughout a difficult day, when they think they're failing or they feel like they're not enough. The wristbands recall you are enough. And they're affirmations that are actually on the bracelets. They're little bracelets that each have an affirmation.
I love
You're
that.
more than enough. You're bold. You're unstoppable. And some of the parents put them in their kids' lunch boxes or gave them after they've come home, or grandparents do a lot of pickups now from school. They're very engaged in the school system. As Joy knows, we see at the families because mom and dad are out working.
Yes.
So we encourage the grandparents when those kids come home and they feel like, oh, I didn't do good on this test, or, oh, I failed in sports or whatever. Give them that wristband as a little reminder to glance down and know that they are enough, that they're unstoppable, that they matter. Mm-hmm. So that was a very successful wristband initiative that we did. And we're going to continue to do that. Yeah. Because our kids... Go ahead, Miss.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful what the two of you are doing. So, Miss Joy, you're spreading more joy in the world. And then for Miss Carolyn, you're spreading more love and confidence. Yeah. I happen to believe that, that when a child know that they matter, when a child know that they're loved, then they're less likely to inflict pain and hurt and suffering on other people, because hurt people hurt people.
Right. Absolutely. Right. You broke that down beautifully. And that is a great point to bring to the table.
Right.
We've encouraged some of the children of the grandparents, say if you see another child who's upset, or if they're being bullied, that was a great tool for a child that may be bullied or see someone being bullied. Slip them a little wristband. Now, we know that the wristbands at some point may end in the dresser drawer or in the toy chest, but we have heard that grandparents say that they've come back and sometimes it only takes a little nugget for a child. It may not be your child that's influenced.
Right.
I could influence, or another grandparent. I'm from an age where the grandparents, I'm from Michigan, a little suburb of Detroit, and the grandparents were sitting on the porch.
Yes,
they saw everything you did.
Yes.
And they
talk about it.
Exactly. So we know the power of that grandparent who can lift, inspire, and change that child.
Yes.
For life.
Needed. For life, yes. For life. I've had people say, you didn't know it, but you may say, there was one thing you said. And they know that we're wise and full of wisdom.
That's grandparents.
Wisdom. That's what grandparents are. And grandfather, our grandfathers too.
Grandparents, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think it's about planting seeds, right?
Absolutely.
It's about planting seeds. And when you plant a seed and we have the opportunity to water it, eventually become a tree. And
Oh,
it might be a tree when that child needs it the most, even if it's
absolutely.
10, 15 years from now. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And
Thank
when you look at the race piece, there's so much social media, especially during the protests. We
Mm-hmm.
were out there fighting and standing up for our rights, and our children, our grandkids were watching.
Wait, you were out protesting too, Miss Carolyn?
No, one of the things we said, we wanted, we had that desire to get out there. And we were a
Uh-huh.
little, we maybe most of us didn't have the courage to get out there and get knocked
Mm,
in. That's why we said, don't sit back and just watch. What are we going to do? What are
yes.
we going to do? So of course we funded the different initiatives and everything. We spoke to our kids. I had a grandson who's 14. He was really concerned. Will these type of
Mm,
things happen to me, Gungun? Will I
mm.
be affected? Will I be when I drive? Will I be,
Stop.
stopped? And we were reaffirming. And I don't think you can begin too young to reaffirm
Yes,
their
yes.
value and teach them what it means to be
You
in
know,
this.
that's actually a really powerful point, Miss Carolyn. Help from where you are. Not
Yeah,
everybody can be up in in the streets at a Breonna Taylor protest, right?
right.
Or
Exactly.
George Floyd protest. But you can serve from right where you are.
Break it down. I love
Yeah,
it.
you can serve from right where you are. And it sounds to me like both of you ladies are doing just that.
Mhm.
So what kind of conversations are you guys having in your group, Miss Joy, of 31,000 women? What kind of conversations are you having with these grandmas?
Well, it's mostly photos because every once in a while somebody will maybe ask for prayers. And immediately after that post is made because a grandchild is sick or a grandchild has passed, there's usually about 200 comments right after that to praying. Other than
Hmm.
that, most of them are every day. We get about 300 or 400 photos of grandchildren doing all kinds of stuff from splashing in the mud to, trying to cook on the stove. I mean, they post everything that is so cute, but yet we remember. And now with this kind
Um,
of technology, you can catch it with them actually doing things.
yes.
So we get about 300 or 400 posts of grandchildren from birth. Some of them we get being born. We've actually got about 3 or 4 actually being born. My grandchild is
All right.
that was a surprise. But yeah, every day we get those posts. So that's the
Oh,
exciting thing. I think
wonderful.
that's what I'm highlighting, the joy of just being around them. That
Mm,
joy that the grandma feels. We want them to learn the world. But for that minute, I'm really highlighting the grandma's feeling because there's
I
no other
love it.
feeling like that. You
I
know what I
love
mean? That's
it.
the specialty. It is inexplicable. There's
I
no other
love
feeling.
it.
And
I love
only a
it.
grandma. I mean, it's so different even from when you picked up your own kids or you had your own babies.
Ah,
Now,
okay.
this is your baby's baby. Your baby.
Mm.
There's nothing like that. So, I mean, I'll start crying in a minute because I just get so excited. But
Oh man, that's so amazing. Spreading joy.
and to the
And
grandmothers, because we do want to teach them. We don't want to take away from our children who are teaching them, hopefully, some of the stuff we taught them. So we're not
mhm.
trying to take over, but we're trying to add some of the wisdom that their parents haven't had yet because they're not as old as we are. So that's
Mm.
what those kids are going to get besides the extra love and the extra candy that mama didn't give them last night.
I love it. I love it.
You've been spoiling these kids now.
Yes, that's what grandmas do, and then send them home.
Spoil them and then send them home. So, you guys are so inspiring to me. And I think the lesson that I'm taking away from our conversation is the fact that you can make a difference no matter what age, right? You can still
Right.
serve, and there is still a place for everybody to have an impact in the community.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the we're in a very important part in our country's history right now. November, midterm elections, people are going to the polls. And I just saw research published by AARP on their Instagram page that says that, particularly in the state of Florida, that that women 55 and over really are going to be swing vote in deciding some of the midterm elections. And I may be misquoting the statistics a little bit, but the takeaway is that seniors are very critical to
Absolutely.
the midterm election. And
Right.
I've noticed that seniors tend to vote a lot. Can you speak a little bit to how seniors can be could be active in their community's political future?
Well, thank you. That's a brilliant question. I was raised in Michigan by a father who was a foundry worker, but he was still civically engaged. And he was involved in car parades. When someone ran for office, there were car parades that went up and down the street with the candidate that they wanted to support, and the horns were blown. Now, we do show that elections are decided by people who show up at the polls. In the United States, the oldest citizens are the most likely to vote. And they, including myself and Miss Joy, we are the political clout. We are the political clout beyond the numbers alone. And we are a strong influence on deciding the outcomes of these candidates. Because we're old school.
Yes, ma'am.
We're old school when it comes to value. I study when I don't know a candidate is running. I'll Google them to find out who is this person, what are their. So I think I represent, along with Miss Joy, we take our voting very
and other
seriously.
grandmas.
When I hear of John Lewis, who was knocked in the head, was the fighting warrior to the very end, why wouldn't we want to vote? There were sacrifices being made every day, and they're still being made. So we know that our senior citizens have a vested interest in protecting the valuable benefits of voting.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I agree. Do you have any thoughts on this too, Miss Joy? Miss Joy may be experiencing some technical difficulties. I have a question for Miss Carolyn. I'm an elected official, right? What advice would you give me on how I can engage seniors and get them involved civically?
I am here, but Melissa's frozen.
Oh, okay. Can
Melissa's
you hear me?
Frozen. Carolyn circle is going
I can hear
around.
you. I can hear Melissa.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Miss Carolyn.
First of all, I just want to commend you on your amazing work that you do in the community and beyond.
Thank you.
Also are engaged with the. I looked at you. I looked at your background. I was blown away. So thank you, Miss Melissa.
Thank you, ma'am.
And to answer your question, what I would say is get out to the senior citizens. Most communities have the senior citizens communities. They have little where they meet. They meet up maybe at little churches. They're swimming.
Yeah.
See them out in their little gatherings. They gather. They're walking tours. They walk in the morning.
Yes.
So I would reach out mainly to the senior citizens communities. I know in the city of Sunrise, I'm a resident, and we have each city has their little community senior citizens buildings where they have the different things, activities and things. And I would just pop up. I wouldn't make it be a big deal. I'd just pop up and say, I'm just here to say hello. What are your needs? How can I serve you?
I love it.
Yeah, just very spontaneous.
I love it.
Surprise them. And with the beautiful spirit that you have, anyone would want to connect with you. And
that's right.
Thank you, Miss Carolyn. What about you, Miss Joy? What are your thoughts on civic engagement for seniors?
Many of those that I personally know go to the polls where you're volunteered to sign people up to vote, and also to the places where they're casting their votes. And so that's what I've noticed with many of the seniors that have invited me, even as I participate in a few, just encouraging encouraging seniors to get out. They have, like the church that I belong to, they take a bus and pick up the senior citizens and take them to the polls. And they do things that are make them readily available for seniors, so they don't have to hunt a place or say, I don't know where to go to vote, or I don't know what to do. They make it available readily. And I think there's several churches that do that. And that's a big thing, because if you come get us and we can, we're going to go, that bus will be full, because we know the importance of it. But sometimes we don't know. So we just, I think a lot of seniors try to get that word out, at least the ones that I'm kind of in communication with.
I love it. Well, listen, ladies, I want to thank the both of you for spreading joy and love, and also for serving the community. I'm really grateful. And on this Grandmother's Day, I'm going to say we celebrate, we honor you, and thank you so much for being such influencers. Thank you for being women who get it done.
Thank you for inviting us. Wonderful.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Be well, ladies.
Be well.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for watching this episode of the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. And we encourage you to check out Miss Carolyn and Miss Joy. If you are a grandmother, look for What My Grandkids Call Me on Facebook so you can join the group. And also look for Grandparents Bridge for Racial Healing so that you can be a part of the movement as well. Remember, be kind and loving to yourself. You absolutely 100% deserve it. Be well.